The third point from the book by Eric Ries is the minimum viable product. This is whereby you're able to create a prototype sort of that you bring to the market. What if I told you most startups don't fail because they lack effort? They fail because they build the wrong thing. Today we are breaking down The Lean Startup, a book by Eric Ries, and this book changed completely how businesses are built. So if you've ever had a business idea, this is a mindset that you need to adapt. So the first idea or mindset that you need to adapt is called is referred to as the problem with the traditional startups. Often traditional startups entered the business landscape with a lot of assumptions, investing heavily, putting in a lot of resources, and after they've spent close to 6 months building a product, that is when they realize that there is no buyer or the consumer is not interested in the product. Hence, it's almost a complete failure and a lot has gone to wastage. So this book addresses this challenge in the sense that before you are able to invest heavily, you need to first assess the market, or rather the market size and the consumer in general, and have a solid and clear perspective on what you're actually bringing to the market and what the buyer, the consumer, actually wants. The second point the book addresses is called the build, measure, and learn loop. This is a process whereby you're able to build a product, then you measure its usage and the consumer adoption of the product, and then you learn from the results and the data that you've collected. This is a very efficient way because you avoid that phase whereby you waste a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of resources building something that is a fallacy and ends up to not really stick, or rather realize its fruition or come to fruition rather. The third point from the book by Eric Ries is the minimum viable product. This is whereby you're able to create a prototype sort of that you bring to the market with least resources, or rather within a very short period of time, with not having invested heavily and having an actual product that you can actually present to a customer. Because if you rely on the customer's words, if they say they'll buy that product, that cannot actually be true. So you need to be able to build a minimum viable product so that when you showcase it to them, they can actually think and tell you the truth if they think they'll need that product and if they see themselves using that product. This is very efficient and this is very critical. It erodes that whole problem that we discussed on the first point, and it has been tested over time. Most startups that have emerged successful have implemented this theory. Examples include Zappos, the famous online commerce store whereby they sell shoes and sneakers online. They've implemented this theory and this idea to its very best, and it has worked for them. So this is another point that the author highlights. And if you want more content on business, finance, and growth, subscribe and stay locked in. See you on the next one.